Hello and welcome to this very, very special programme here in the headquarters of NIVAC in Belfast and hosted by Mid-Ulster Council. This is a special tribute to the one and only, the living legend, Mickey Harte, a man whose efforts on and off the field has actually transcended sport, a man who brought All-Ireland titles to Tyrone at minor, under-21 and senior. This programme, a tribute to him with so many other sporting personalities, great inserts from former players, managers. It's going to be very, very enjoyable. Stick with us. And no better way to start than with some fantastic music. We've got Plunkett McGartland here and our own Malachi Cush, and they're going to start off very appropriately with The Mountains of Pomeroy.
When the maid she bound her golden hair with a blithe glance in her eye, for who beyond that gay green wood was waiting her with joy? Oh, who but her gallant Adrian on the mountains of Pomeroy? An outlawed man in a land forlorn, he burned to turn and fly, and he kept the cause of freedom safe on the mountains of Pomeroy. Full often in the dawning hour, full oft in twilight brown, he met the maiden in the woodland bower, where the streams come tumbling down. For they were faithful in a love no lord could e'er destroy. No tyrant's laws touched Renardine on the mountains of Pomeroy. Dear love, she said, I'm so afraid for the foeman's force and you. They've tracked you in the lowland bower and all the valley through. My kinsmen frown when you are named, your life they would destroy. Beware, they say, of Renardine on the mountains of Pomeroy. Fear not, sweetheart, he cried. Fear not the foe for me. No chain shall fall, whate'er betide, on the arm that would be free. Oh, leave your cruel kin and come when the lark is in the sky, and it's with my gun I will guard you, my love, on the mountains of Pomeroy. An outlawed man in a land forlorn, he scorned to turn and fly, mountains of Pomeroy. The morn has come, she rose and fled from her cruel kin and home, and bright the wood and rosy red, and the tumbling torrents foam. But the mist came down, and the tempest roared, and it all around destroyed, and a pale drowned bride met Reynard dying on the mountains of Pomeroy. An outlawed man in a land forlorn, he scorned to turn and fly, and he kept the cause of freedom safe on the mountains of Pomeroy.
It's still a game of football. The only thing is, it's the most important game of football they'll play this year. It's for the Sam Maguire Cup. Some switches in the Armagh team with Diarmuid Marsden and Ronan Clark making a switch, but it's the start of the 114th All-Ireland football final. This is just outside the 45-metre line. Inside towards Brian McGuigan, a flu victim in the last couple of days, taking on O'Rourke. Back to Peter Campbell once again. Canavan leaving it there for Cablin, and that's a very fine shot indeed, and it's over the bar.
Wonderful music there from Plunkett and of course Malachy, superb stuff. We'll have more from them later in the programme. Now this very special event simply would not have happened without the good offices of Mid Ulster Council. I'm delighted to say the chair of the Mid Ulster Council is here, Councillor Cathal Malachy. Cathal.
Good evening to everyone watching at home and here in the studio. My name is Cathal Malachy and I am the Chair of Mid Ulster District Council. You're all very welcome to Mickey Harte, Tyrone player and Bannister, a tribute. As County Tyrone's longest serving and most successful Bannister, Mickey Harte's achievements deserves to be recognised. It's a very great honour for me as Chair of Mid Ulster District Council to host this evening's celebration to recognise all of your successes. Such longevity in the game is unparalleled, and what a collection of silverware Tyrone has gathered under your leadership. Let's see, we have 3 All-Irelands, 6 Ulsters, 12 Dr McKenna Cups and 1 National League Cup. I think this list over the years, totaling just shy of 2 decades, speaks for itself. A county team manager's life isn't an easy one for sure, bearing the weight of your county's expectations on your shoulders and at the worst of times dealing with the armchair critics, never mind the professional ones. But this is balanced by the satisfaction of being involved in something bigger than its individual parts. When the going is good, lifting the spirits of the fans in the stands and at home, and the unbridled joy of winning must make the dark days more bearable. Mickey, you've experienced all of this, and I'm sure, and many ups and downs along the way. Tonight, we're going to be looking at some of the key moments in those 18 years of service you've given. The events we'll cover illustrate just how expressing the qualities of discipline, determination, teamwork, tenacity, and a passion for the game throughout your time as a player and a manager has elevated your position as ambassador for Tyrone. The achievements on the field have made you one of the all-time managerial greats and a towering figure in GAA folklore. One of the most striking and consistent themes running throughout the interviews of players, managers and commentators that we'll hear this evening has been the positivity, hope and encouragement that you gave to your players, backroom staff and everyone at all levels. Coupled with their respect and admiration for you, it's made for a powerful partnership. As Chair of Mid Ulster District Council, I would like to sincerely thank you, Mickey, for your role in helping to increase the civic pride Tyrone supporters feel in our county, our towns and our villages. Your team's achievements have lifted many out of despair in difficult times, kept many a young boy on the straight and narrow and provided opportunities for the young people of our district to be active and healthier. We owe you a great deal. Thank you, Mickey.
Yeah, the words there of Cathal Malachan, the Chair of Ulster Council, our host today, and we'll hear from him later on in this very, very special programme. I'm delighted to say there he is, the man's in the chair, the man himself, Mickey Harte. Mickey, your reaction to this, a tribute after all you've done for football and so many other things, you must be delighted.
Absolutely, Adrian. I wouldn't be thinking of anything like this at all, and it's very nice for people to believe that this is an event worth having. But I'm just delighted that I had so many years involved in Tyrone football and some great men around us all the time and great footballers obviously, and we were very successful. So I remember the many good days we had, and obviously in the middle of all that there were challenging days too, and both with football results and life in general. But thanks be to God we're all here now, and we've come through and out the other side, and it's good to be here. I
always thought about you whenever we talked over the years, you know, faith, family, football. That's basically for me some job anyway, and it's typical of you, you know, that there so many people want to be a part of this tribute this evening.
Well, I'm delighted that is the case, and it's great to see some of the lads here that I've been working with over many years. We've not only just good memories from football, but real good friends. I think that's the big thing about the GAA and about, you know, people at this level that we've been working with over the years. Doesn't matter what end of the county they come from. They could be our rivals at club level, but when it comes to Tyrone, everybody just wears the red hand on their heart, and it's great to be part of that group, and it has been a privilege all the years to be with them. And I say, not only their football prowess and to be just so thrilled at seeing them develop that way, but the real good people that they are and the good friendships that we've made over those years.
Well, Mickey, for the viewers and for you, just to let you know the way the evening is going to work, we have contributions from many people, personalities from all sports, and we're going to start off with our first contribution tonight on videotape, the president of Cumbernauld Class Gael, Larry McCarthy.
Mickey Harte, 30 years of inter-county involvement is some incredible achievement. 2003, 2005, 2008 would obviously be the highlights, but I'd much prefer to focus on the influence that you brought to bear and the positive influence that you brought to bear on so many young men over that period of time. And then by extension, of course, because of that positive influence, that influenced the communities in which they came. So thank you very much for that. So as you turn the page on this phase of your life, Mickey, congratulations and good wishes to you and your family, and thank you for all that you've done for Cumbernauld Class Gael.
Yeah, wonderful piece there from the president of the Gaelic Athletic Association. Mickey talked about some of the lads being in studio. I'm delighted to say here we are. We've got Brian McGuigan, triple All-Ireland winner. Kevin Hughes, double All-Ireland winner. Is there any animosity between you and the fact that you have 3 and you have only 2?
No, well, in fairness, me and Brian made the decision in 2005 to go to Australia. He made the very wise decision to come back home and play a bit of football, and I just stayed on in Australia. But no, we had good times, and that year, just the man that we're here to tribute, Mickey and I spoke in January time of that year before I left in 2005. And I remember the conversation. I was working in Monaghan, and we met in Vale, and we had a discussions, and I had it in my head that I wanted to go just to travel and experience the cultures for a while. And Mickey says to me, "Hub, you're making a mistake. We're going to win the All-Ireland this year." And I said, "Mickey, I have no doubt in that, and I wish that it happens, but you say that every year."
I know, that's true.
But in fairness, that shows you the remarkable winning mentality of the man, and the belief that he had in that group of players, that every year we went out, we believed we were going to win the All-Ireland.
Well, boys, we're going to go back to the start, to minor, whenever this man was in charge. You must have superb memories there. This man took you from, you know, young lads trying to achieve, Brian, and you did achieve with them. What made him a wee bit special?
I first come upon Mickey when I was 16. Probably one of the few that had 3 years at minors. Mickey, well, it was my name or my ability. Mickey seen something in me at that time, but and I remember watching back, and I think it was an 82 team. Was it, Mickey, you were involved in? They got the
first one, 91 minors,
91
was the Ulster
aye.
final, yeah.
So we knew who Mickey was, but you know, to be involved with him, I wanted to work with him, and I knew there was something special in him. And like, you look at teams now, and the teams of people you have around you, and the management team, like Mickey was everything at that time. Like, Mickey was your dietitian, he was your manager, coach. He just done absolutely everything. And then I suppose as time went on, he surrounded himself by a lot of good people. Not big teams of people. Like you only had, you always had Paddy Tally, Fan McLear, Tony Donnelly, and Horace. But there weren't big teams the way the Dublins are now. So it just shows you what type of man he was, and to deal with the types of players that he had. Like there was a lot of different characters in that team, and they all had to be treated differently. But he was able to do that.
Mickey, 91 all started for you against Armagh. A wee clip coming up. Well, this will bring back memories. Can you talk us through these special moments for you?
We'll have a go at that.
Back come Tyrone, Owen Gormley. That's a great score.
How good was that team?
Denver Farrell has got the point.
In 91, I mean, like it was the first year I was involved with the minors, and I always believed there was good footballers in Tyrone at underage, and I always believed that Tyrone could hold their own with anybody. And I suppose that team came early, if you like. I think there's about 7 or 8 of them were still underage in '92. So actually, this was a building a team for the future, and it was just I just loved the idea that we were working with the best players in Tyrone at underage level, and I suppose I wanted to be part of a minor team that would try and get this Tom Markham Cup. I've always did that over the years. I played in the minors in 1972, and we got beaten in the All-Ireland final, and the year after Tyrone won it.
There you are, your son there for you too.
And the year after they won it, and I was over age, so it just meant that I could see the difference it meant. The team that won it and how much they were remembered, and actually at a gathering 25 years later, the minor team that I was on was never held of again. So I just think it's just so important that that's what I wanted to do at that time.
I know you said you wanted to get involved, and the lads will give. You're looking at these fantastic pictures. It wasn't just about organisation, Mickey. You clearly had something, to bring these lads on, to bring the best out of them.
Well, I mean, look. It's just I loved the game of Gaelic football, and I've been a teacher, and from my profession I was working with young lads from first year in school. I love to see young lads coming into school, and the likes of Hub here too, coming in as a young fella, a nice light young modest lad. Then he grew up into a nice big modest man. But and that's no lie. I think Hub's a wonderful character here, and he's a really good fella. But I remember when he was in school too, like he was really, really light on his foot, and you'll remember yourself, he'll tell you the games that I used to play when we had a PE, and the last couple in the evening, and we'd get involved in the game, and it was going heavy, and I'd be in one team, and his class, like when they were 5th years, you could play with them. But if my team wasn't winning, we played on till the buses were waiting. So that was the kind of, maybe that was something that in me, this sort of desire to win things, and maybe to a fault, yet I didn't like getting beaten. So I always believed if you like getting beaten, you get plenty of it.
It's a great line, Mickey. Bob, do you remember any particular games that stand out for you as a minor? I think I listened to you one time recently, talking about a game of Kerry, wasn't it?
Well, obviously, touching what Brian and that said, and Mickey touching on there about school, I obviously had Mickey as a PE teacher at school, and from an early age I knew the winning mentality of him, and that desire to win, where it was just with a group of lads out in the all-weather pitch and the last double period of school, it was the same with minors. And in '97 we were very fortunate to come, a good group of lads that come through, and then that you asked there, that minor replay, I think in Parnell Park, was a real turning point for a lot of us young lads, because we were up against Kerry. We'd come back late in the drawing game and got the equalisers, and then to go to Parnell Park and to come out the victorious side of a real minor classic, as it was billed at the time, it really stood to us. And I suppose at that stage, Kerry were the kingpins. When we grew up watching them in the golden years and the golden era, it was always Kerry, and we had got one over them. And it's set on stone there that we had the belief then that we could go and match the best.
We've got some footage of that game, and if you want to take a look at the screen, if you remember any of these moments. It's a particularly heated game, actually, at one stage.
Yeah, well, you see, we played in a vocational schools All-Ireland final the year before, a few months earlier than that, in May time, and Kerry had beat us in the final. And I remember in particular John Sugar, who I was marking in that game there in Parnell Park. He was the vocational schools captain. And we really felt we owed them one from that day, and that's why I suppose in even a short space of time there was a big rivalry already starting between Kerry and Tyrone, even at that young age. And that's why the game was very evenly matched players-wise, and it was just pure grit, determination, and hunger who wanted more.
It was
in
hot
the
and
day.
heavy, wasn't it? It was hot and heavy, if I remember.
Aye, well, I mean, it was a battle to the end, and it was a replay game, and I think Kevin coming at a time in his life when he had a lot of things to deal with far more important than football, and the fact that he gave us so much that day is just a credit to him. It was very important, it was significant. I remember that day, that game going on into extra time, and there was men literally just being carried onto the field. I remember the late Cormac, God rest him, I remember him coming off because he was just absolutely nearly exhausted. Got some kind of resuscitation on the sideline and walked back in and played on, you know. But it was just a great, it was a great bonding day for us, that, and particularly, I mean, to come from 3 down on the drawn game was so important, because at that stage we looked a beaten docket. To get back those 3 points, I think we got the last 3 points of the drawn game and give ourselves that second lifeline. So to come and then win this, not only win it, but win it after extra time, it proved that there was staying power in these players.
Yeah, look at Cormac there, he could hardly walk near the very end. But look, what a servant. We'll talk about him at some stage throughout the programme. But the thing that got me about that, there was a wee thing of sort of, I looked at that incident. You were the one that caused the Kamalia on the sideline. The hub came in to try and finish it, but Mark Harte got booked. How did that happen? How did that work out? That sort of happened most
Well, in
games.
fairness now, in matches, whether at football or the Glenavon, I always started and run, and Hub was always the one to finish it.
How did Mark get booked? Or Mark wouldn't have been in
Well,
the fight.
Mark always took us home now. After the Glenavon, so. But no, definitely, there was definitely something special happening that day. There were so many instances in that year. You recall the down match. I don't know, I think it was the preliminary round. We really should have been beat. The following year against Down, we could have been beaten. Sometimes you can say, yes, you need a bit of luck, but I think that shows you the character that was in the team. But that was instilled in by Mickey. Like, no matter what we done, we were going down, we were positive. We felt going down and playing to Kerry. We looked up to Kerry, but we showed them respect, but we didn't fear them. And I think the character we showed, especially after '97, we didn't win the All-Ireland that year, but to come back the following year with a lot of the same players back again, showed the character that we had. And who knows, if we had won the final in '87, things could have been so much different later on. But you have to get the hurt before you win.
Well, you have to lose a few before you win. Mickey, you continued on the under-21s, huge success there. I do remember the time during Foot and Mouth. I remember you came into the studio on UTV to fight the cause for the Ulster Championship to continue, because at that stage they were going to throw it out. And I thought, what a very worthy character. And then I realised Tyrone had a good team. There was a wee bit of method in your madness, wasn't there? Well,
that's true. It would have been a shame not for those players not to get the chance to go at it. And I suppose, to me, it was a bit of a stupid rule, if you like, because we were supposedly not allowed to play in the competition because there was an outbreak. I think it was in Arboe. And you know, so this is the real point, but that, you know, there was players from Fermanagh were near to Arboe, and some of the players we had in Tyrone. So what sense did that make? Like, you know, that they were near to Arboe and they were allowed to play in it, and somebody in Tyrone, because they come from Ahayarn or somewhere up the country, they couldn't play, you know. So that didn't make sense to me. So I said, this has to be fought. The case has to be fought. So we got out and get on to the media. You know, you people in the media that can spin stories. They can spin stories as well as tell true ones.
yeah, you get the odd good decent one. But look, whenever I remember those under-21 teams, you played champion football. I remember, you know, the finals as well. You know, you were scoring at will, you were scoring goals. I think we've got shots, obviously, of the victory against Limerick too, where we're going to see that tape as well. Lads, memories. The memories must be amazing whenever you look at all this.
Absolutely, and that's why, you know, looking back now, 20 years later, and I actually looked at
It's hard to believe.
97 replay against Kerry. I'd seen it maybe a couple of weeks after it, and I haven't watched it since. And I watched it the other night, and you get a bit emotional watching it, because you just, obviously there's players there that were playing that aren't there now. And for us as them young lads to come through, not just the football, but real tough life lessons as well, and we come through it as a team, and then that progressed on with Mickey to the under-21s and success. It was great for us of the 98 team that we won that All-Ireland in 2000 against Kerry, so that gave the 97 lads that didn't win the minors, it gave them their shot at under-21s, and then we obviously come and done it again in 2001. And as I say, memories is unbelievable. I would say I know from a lot of collegiate lads who were following the team at the time, they have as good a memories as anybody because they were getting to places like Mullingar, Carrick and Shannon, down to follow the Tyrone team, and it was just a real road trip for all the county to be following that team, and then obviously when they're winning, it's a big plus.
We'll have to cut these segments short because there's so much to go, Mickey. But I want to bring you back and mention one young man. Didn't we talk about the triumph, the tragedy? God knows there's plenty of that. Paul McGirr was one I know that you always hold dear to your heart. That was a very, very difficult time for everybody involved in Tyrone and yourself.
It definitely was. Nobody ever expects to go out on a Sunday afternoon to play a game of football, especially a young lad. They expect they come home, they might pick up an injury here and there, but they don't expect not to be coming home. And that was a stark reminder to us of just how, vulnerable we are in life, that we're just at the mercy of God, really. And to think that he went out and a number on his back, the same as the rest of the lads, and he didn't get to see any more of that. It was a very, very difficult day for all of us and a difficult time. But I think it was something that there came a very positive outcome of, never mind the spirit of Paul McGirr Foundation, but trust, but the rest of the players, just how much they grew in stature. We always knew their footballing ability, but that really made them grow into really serious people. And I think that was the benefit to Tyrone for years to come. They were really such sound people that came out of that. So it's good to see something positive coming out of something very dark.
Lads, I'm going to have to cut it short. I'm sorry, we could talk for a long, long time. The quality and the showmanship and the football that you produced for Tyrone on a personal basis was fantastic. You gave so many people so many great days, and it's lovely, Mickey, that we mentioned the likes of Paul McGirr. We're going to be focusing on your club very, very shortly. You had a couple of very successful years there too. But before that, as I told you earlier on, we're going to take a look and have a few more of these nice testimonials for Mickey Harte, the legend.
Hello, Mickey. First off, I'd like to say that I'm delighted you've been honoured for your contribution to sport and so much more besides. Congratulations, well deserved. You represent so much of what is positive in human nature. From a sporting perspective, you have made an incredible contribution and are regarded as one of the most outstanding managers in the history of Gaelic football. You'll forever be remembered as the manager who guided Tyrone to 3 All-Ireland successes in 2003, 2005 and 2008, following on from your successes at minor and under-21 level. I know you'd be the first to admit that without the love and support of Marion and all the family, that success would not be possible. I'm delighted that you're honoured for your contribution to Gaelic games and sport in general. Well done, congratulations, Gurry Mila Mahagat, agus Slán Tamil.
Mickey Harte, what can I say? I think I played football for about 24 years in all. 16, 17 of them were under Mickey Harte, and in that time I won over 25 trophies, I think, at my last count. So, Mickey Harte, all them medals had you to thank for them. The standards that you made me set as a person, and all the boys that you coached as a person, as a player, as a Tyrone man, as an Ergal Kieran man. Thank you for everything you've done all over the years. Absolutely amazing for all of us that have been lucky to be involved with you. Have a great night.
I suppose I have known Mickey since Mickey's been a part of my life since I've been 10 years of age. That would have started through the Growing in Faith programme in our own parish of Ergal Kieran, then through school football, and then I led into county football as well. I guess one story that always sticks out in my mind was the day we went to play a second-year football match for St Kieran's, and the pitch was frozen over. The goal mouth was particularly frozen, but Mickey wasn't going to let that get in the way, and he brought his car onto the pitch and tried to spin the wheels to break up the ice, which was a real eye-opener for me. I suppose from then I should have realised the commitment that Mickey always had. And then on to county football, I feel very blessed that he was there and was able to take so many of us boys through them. And he always will have my and my family's utmost respect, and you learn so much of him, from him as a manager, but probably more importantly as a person. He's just a person that we always looked up to and respected, and for so many of us, we are so lucky that he has been a massive part of our life. So thank you very much, Mickey. All the best, Mickey, from everyone in Ergal Kieran and Tyrone.
You brought your car onto the pitch and tried to Did you win the match at least? Or was it even played?
I don't know. I'm hearing things that I don't know I did.
Mickey, these are lovely testimonials. You must be pleased to see that from friends and colleagues as well. Errigal and of course, you know, Brian.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, great people to have been encountered in the path of life for me. That's what makes life worth living. You meet so many good people. And you know, there's challenges in life, as I said, all the time. But you know, there's so many more good people in it, and there's so much more to be thankful for than there is to be sad about or regretful over. So yeah, I've been blessed, and I appreciate that blessing.
Mickey, thanks very much, lads. We're going to give you the red card because we're going to come back in a couple of minutes' time. We're going to focus on Errigal. We'll have Mark Harte here. We'll have the chair of the council. Cahill will be back on. We'll have a wee yarn listening about the glory times with Errigal. Kieran, back in a couple of minutes' time.
Found in a crowd of over 82,000, the clash of football's most consistent forces. Kerry and Tyrone, between them the winners of the last 5 All-Ireland titles. It's going to be Kerry from left to right in the first half. And away we go, the 119th All-Ireland final. Nicely outside here for Kavanagh this time, taking Tom O'Sullivan with him, but out towards the edges. Support arriving slowly here. It's McGuigan. That's Tommy McGuigan. Keeping it moving here. Davy Harte up in attack. Nicely angled shot. Beautiful accuracy, and Davy Harte puts it over the... Here's Brian Dooher. Young's chasing after him, still chasing after him, shouldering him up, but the ball didn't go out. The umpire and linesman's decided. Dooher has a go from an angle and puts an almost impossible ball.
Yeah, welcome back. We're now moving on to Errigal Kieran and the great efforts that Mickey did for the club. Cahill is back on the stage with us now, and obviously the man himself, Mark Harte. Mark, I have to say to you, what was it like, the man being your daddy and the manager on occasions? It must have been difficult.
It was a mixture of everything, but I suppose ultimately you knew that he had that burning desire to win. And sometimes that meant that you played, and sometimes it meant that you didn't, and you had to accept that. His ultimate goal was, can we get a victory for these bunch of boys? And I think that's unique, I suppose, about team sports, is there's a collective. So you park individual relationships and you park individual...
Wait a minute. You're going to tell me that you sat in the kitchen, you didn't yap your dad. If you didn't get picked, you didn't say, how come I'm not playing, did I?
No, if I played, didn't play well, I went to the garage. And if I played all right, I stayed about. So, no, it was... I suppose when you grow up and that's all you've experienced, you don't know anything different, Logie, and that was what it was from the start. So from when we first got together, at that stage, I know now with the children around the club, there's under 6s and 8s and everything, but really under 12s was the start of it. So from under 12 up, my father was the manager of the team, and it really just grew from there, and thankfully we had a lot more good days than bad.
Cahill, Pomeroy man, you played a bit of football yourself too, and Mickey didn't spot your talent, so there was one mistake, wasn't it?
Tried to play a bit of football, Logie, and that's the way it was. But no, listen, the GA has been such an important part of my life from childhood. Starting playing football in Pomeroy, under 8s, under 10s, under 12s. Wasn't much good at it, but enjoyed it, and really enjoy a role I have now within our own club in Pomeroy, doing a bit of fundraising and looking after grants and these type of things. That's where I found my skill in the GA. But it's so important what the GA has done for people across Tyrone, across Mid-Ulster, and I think that's why it was so important for me to arrange this night during my year as being chair of the council. And whenever I raised this in the chamber a number of months ago, it was fully supported from all corners, because not just because of Mickey's achievements on the field, but it was off the field as well, because Mickey's done so much for people right across the community, and we felt it was so important that he should be acknowledged in some way. And it's been such a difficult year because of COVID, and I really see this as being the highlight of those 12 months, trying to put some sort of positivity back into the scene again. So I'm really glad that we've been able to do this for Mickey and the Hartes and for Tyrone GA.
That's very nice to hear. That's a very nice tribute. Everybody involved. Mickey, it's great when you win for Tyrone. What can I be as a Clarksman? Can I tell you? You know what it's like when you do it for your club. What was it like whenever you took over at the club? Did you feel a sense of, were you worried, were you concerned that you were going to have to deliver because it was your own club, because it was Errigal?
No, Adrian, I think it was a question, as Mark said there. Like, I started with under 12s, and when he was in under 12s, and a bunch of boys grew up through, it was again like the Tyrone scene, where I started with underage and it came up through every team in the club. I've done that in school football as well, started with first years right through to 5th years, as they were in St Kieran's at that time. So I think it was a build-up of, you knew the young men that were coming through from underage, you knew the qualities they had, and we knew there'd be a very high standard of player within our club. And again, I just believe that, you know, you give it your best shot. If you do everything you can, prepare as diligently as you can, and you have decent footballers around you who are prepared to buy into your philosophies, then anything's possible. I still believe that.
And Margaret, I have to say this not sounds great, but you didn't go about it the right way, did you? What, you were 8 points behind Cross in the first game, you were 9 points behind them in the second, and you had to go to 3 games before you actually beat them to get into play in Enniskillen and then beat Ballinderry. It was quite a year, wasn't it? We're looking at some of the action here too. It's fabulous, isn't it?
Yeah, it was unique in that way, and even getting out of Tyrone, you know what it's like yourself. Getting out of Tyrone's a dogfight. Like, we were put to the pin of our collar against Thurles in a semi-final. Kelly Clogher, only for Peter, maybe scoring a goal, could have went either way as well. And then when you won the O'Neill Cup, I suppose that adventure into Ulster takes on a life of its own. At that stage, I mean, Crossmaglen were the best club team in Ireland. Armagh had just come off the back of winning the All-Ireland, so we really were playing against the best players in the country at that stage. And a bit like the Tyrone team of 03, I suppose, you had people of serious experience there, and Peter and Pascal Canavan, Owen Gormley, and then there was a flood of my era, I suppose, coming through, who were young and naive, but full of energy and full of just the excitement of playing along with Peter Canavan, for example. Some of the stuff he's doing on the screen here is just, there's not too many in the country who can do it. So, but to go to the first game against Crossmaglen in the first round, I have friends from other clubs who told me they'd went home. And I understand that, because we were 8 down, and honestly, I was in the pitch and I could see people leaving. And that's a demoralising place to be in as a footballer. But maybe it's just, it was filtering through from the management that I just knew that the way that Peter would lead us on the pitch and the way we were led on the sideline was, you go to you can't go anymore, and if it goes your way, it goes your way. So to dig ourselves back from 8 down against Crossmaglen really was a yardstick as to how far that team had matured and come. And it's a bit like, you know, when you're meeting these Kerrys and that in Croke Park, and people maybe outside of the group were thinking, going to Crossmaglen, well, that's the end of the run and you had a good year. But we sort of felt that we could give them a rattle. Now at half time the change room's 9 down, it wasn't looking just so sweet, but again, to dig out a draw after extra time left us going to Clonus the next day, Logie, for a third game against Crossmaglen, with no doubt in our minds that we could match them. And if we matched them, why couldn't we beat them? And then the shot in the arm it gives you to beat Crossmaglen, who were dominating the club scene across the country at that stage. You can see the scenes that it meant to go on and beat Ballinderry, then I suppose, who were Ireland club champions, Enniskillen Gales, who were knocking the door for that block of 6 to 8 years as well. It was certainly a very sweet victory, and hard work and dedication on all the players' behalf as well as the management.
I can turn that deficit into a different story for you. You know.
Well, go ahead, Mickey. You work away. This is your show.
And you've got to use this when you say, you know, it's good to be in that place, because you never know how to come out of it if you weren't there. So if you were always in front and never met the deficit of 6 or 8 or 9 points, then you'd never know how to deal with it. So we got some practice at dealing with that, you know. And I'll tell you, I remember what Mark's saying there, particularly in the replay at Crossmaglen, when it was 1-9 to 2 points, I think it was at half time. And just before that, or 1-8 to 2 points actually, it was 11-2. Just before half time, they were pressing, and just on the cusp of getting a second goal, it would have been curtains for us at that stage. But our defence put in heroic work and stopped that, and John Devine in goals. We saved a certain goal, and that was my first thing. I went into the dressing room at half time. He says, you know, boys, I know we want to win this game, because if we didn't want to win it, it would have been easy to concede that last goal, and if we had conceded that goal, it was lights out. And they didn't, and they came back and they'd come to draw the game, 2 points each in extra time. We went to the third game and we went into Clonus knowing we could win that game.
Every time I talk to you, Mickey, I feel like talking out myself and going playing a game of football. I think we're going to win everything. Mark, I know it's difficult to ask you this here, but can you sum up your daddy's contribution when you think about it, both for club and county, what he's done, and indeed for the game?
Well, I suppose the best that I can do is to listen to the players that he's played under, because no matter what I say, you know, the bias is probably there, but I know when the doors close and everybody goes home, the hours he puts in, I know the passion he has for whatever team he's over, I know his ruthless desire to win at all costs, I know his togetherness and his ability to gel a group of young players or senior players. So I know that if the players under his watch match his desire and match his hunger and his want, then whoever he's working with will be damn hard to beat and will probably be successful. And that has not diminished. I've seen him waking up after losing horrible games where we should have won or we could have won, maybe All-Ireland semi-finals, and he's disappointed that night, and the next morning he wakes up, he has a pen out and he has a page out and he's plotting, I know where we went wrong. And I've seen him after All-Ireland finals where everybody else is still maybe celebrating to the Tuesday or Wednesday, and the pen's out and the page is out, I know how we're going to do back to back. So his desire and his work rate and his will to win has not been tempered by success, has not been quashed by sickening defeats. And right from the first day as a minor in 91 to his last day of the seniors last year, that's a trademark that he has carried, and I think his teams and his players have benefited from that.
I think you could do well in politics, Cahill. Thank you very much indeed for this particular section. I appreciate Cahill, obviously the chair of the council. We're going to start off now this next part with more music. We've got Plunkett and Malachy, and I think you're going to enjoy this.
John Graham, agus sé sa hól an áit Willie Morden, a bhí ann sa chluhéile canis, na bhí sé gortathe pachta go glótas an air, get Cormac McAnallen, an captain, bhfuil tamach agus Luí sé dierig dulad in ón saí, me histeach ar is Johnny Behan an son agus bhfuil isteach a Joe, go dasca di Aidan Lynch isteach a chance an hól agus gól an Johnny Owen Mulligan. Owen Mulligan, a bhí gimmert de Lord Park an Lloyd Ebnach, and me histeach a Gwine agus an.
Well, it's a true honour for Plunkett and myself to be here on such a very special evening. Of course, Mickey has brought so many wonderful memories to all of us in Tyrone, and we're delighted to sing now one of his favourite songs. This is the Song for Ireland. Walking all the day near tall towers where falcons love to play, silver winged they fly, they know the call of freedom in their breasts. Saw a black head against the sky with twisted rocks that run down to the sea, living on your western shore. Saw summer sunsets, asked for more. I stood by your Atlantic sea and sang a song for Ireland, talking all the day with true friends who try to make you stay, telling jokes and news, singing songs to pass the time away. Watch the Galway salmon run like silver dancing, darting in the sun, living on your western shore. Saw summer sunsets, asked for more. I stood by your Atlantic sea and sang a song for Ireland, drinking all the day in old pubs where fiddlers love to play. Someone touched a bow, he played a reel that seemed so grand and gay. Stood on Dingle Beach and cast in wild foam, we found Atlantic bass, living on your western shores. Saw summer sunsets, asked for more. I stood by your Atlantic sea and sang a song for Ireland, dreaming in the night. I saw a land where no one had to fight, waking in the dawn. I saw you lying in the morning light, lying where the falcons fly. They twist and turn all in your air blue sky, living on your western shores. Saw summer sunsets, asked for more. I stood by your Atlantic sea and sang a song for Ireland. And I sang a song for Ireland.
Gavin Devlin thought about using Kieran Gourley, thought about it again and decides that it is the right option. Owen Mulligan inside to Cormac McAnallen. Good running by Stephen O'Neill. 4 Limerick defenders. Joe Campbell, Tyrone have to play it across field. Chance here of a point for Mark Harte, and the sides level again. This is the captain, John Galvin. Good movement by Limerick. Mark Culhan was a little bit cheeky and didn't get away with the fancy flick. Kieran Gourley. Tyrone happy to play keep football. Good vision by the centre half forward, Brian McGuigan, to spot Stephen O'Neill. A chance for Joe Campbell. He's sent over the bar.
I think you'll have to agree, another beautiful piece from the two lads there. Lovely, lovely music. Now, some of the biggest rivals Tyrone and Mickey Harte has had have been Armagh, Kerry and Dublin. So let's hear a few words from some of the characters, the main characters from those 3 top-class counties.
Mickey, this is a photo that I've had in my house for many years that I've been meaning for a long time to get to you. It was taken by a brilliant photographer down in Killarney called Michelle Cooper Galvin. Captures, I think, the essence of the game, the essence of the competition, and the essence of the respect, I think, that exists between true competitors. I would love for you to have it. So when Peter got in touch for me to speak, I felt this was my opportunity to get it to you. So as a sign of my respect to you, Mickey, and the regard that you're held in down in Kerry, I would love for you to have this for your home. And I want to wish you well, all the best going forward with Louth, and congratulate you again on a managerial career that pushed the game forward in a number of ways and made the game better and made all us competitors better as well.
Mickey Harte has been a lifetime hero for so many in the GAA. His service to the game has been immense. His contribution to Tyrone football and to the GAA as an organisation has been massively significant. Mickey Harte, people like him come round once in a lifetime, and he's done an amazing job. Highly competitive as a manager, as a leader, dignified, honourable and respectful at all times, and he truly has been an amazing individual. Mickey, massive congratulations on your contribution to the GAA over the years. It's been immense, and I know there's much more to come, so the very best of luck in the next phase.
I want to congratulate Mickey Harte on nearly 30 years involvement with Tyrone minors, under-21s and seniors, and the remarkable thing is that he won All-Irelands with each one of these teams. The longevity of his term amazes me, that he was able to be driven for that length of time. If you're not driven, the players don't belong catching on, and Mickey certainly was able to do that. He educated young players, brought them through from minor on to 21 and senior, and made them winners in every code. After 29 years, you'd think that he would nearly be, his time was up when he stepped down, but no, a week later, he's back in football again with my neighbours, Louth. So Mickey's still driven, and as long as he's driven, he'll stay involved. All the best, Mickey. Congratulations for everything you've done. The people of Tyrone should be very proud of you. To last nearly 30 years in the game, you had to be driven and motivated. And obviously you handed all these great qualities down to your players that made both you and them so successful. And then when you stepped down with Tyrone, instead of putting your feet up, getting the pipe out, you automatically went straight back into management with my near neighbours, County Louth. They will certainly benefit from all those years of experience that you have with Tyrone. And I wish you well in the future, Mickey. People at Tyrone should be very proud for what you've done.
Yeah, those are fabulous testimonials, Mickey. You must be very, very proud when you hear that from some of the greatest rivals and some of the rivals that actually made the game so special in those years.
Yeah, I never imagined that at a stage in my life I would have people from Kerry and Dublin and Armagh who were very successful bringing those nice messages to me. But it's a privilege that I have found myself in this place, and I'm really pleased that somebody has pulled this all together, like Cathal here in the council, on behalf of the council and yourselves, putting this on, and huge amount of work. I know the preparation and work that has to go into what you're doing right now, and I'm humbled by all of that, and these people whom I'd have looked up to as well, you know, all these counties and their achievements, and to think that maybe Tyrone we can almost sit around the same table anyway.
Michael, we have the photograph actually from Paul Galvin who got it up, and you battled with your daddy for many, many years. Let's hold it up to see it again. Now, that's it. I thought it was a really nice gesture of his, and Mickey, you remember that?
I do. Is that in Killarney in 2012? Yeah, and it's not many people have an arm like that. But it just shows you Paul Galvin is an amazing character. I just think he's a wonderful man because he's got that sort of eccentricity about him that is very unique and very special as well. And you know, I remember him even when he was playing on those minors of '97. He was a name on that team there too, and never expected to get to know as much about him as the years went on. But I like his you know, he's a serious operator, and you just have to sit back and admire these free spirits that come along in life, and he's certainly that, and had to be very dedicated as well to do what he did at Gaelic Games. But it's amazing just the gifts and talents that God gives to different people and how they carry those gifts forward into life. It's an amazing thing, and he's one of those characters you could really enjoy. I know that.
Michael, I'm honoured to be involved in this tribute to Mickey Harte, the living legend, as I would describe him. You know what I mean? But he was your daddy on the line, and he was always so very calm, or looked very calm. Go on, let us know the truth. What was he like when he was on the line there, looking after Tyrone or indeed Errigal?
Yeah, he was very calm a lot of times, Adrian, I suppose. When you're in the environment of a Packrow Park and all you hear is noise, you look at him and you see calm. But definitely in 2020, when there's no crowd, you could hear a bit more what was going on the sideline. I definitely had first-hand experience of that sitting close to him. So I suppose going back to 2003, I was, like most of us, lucky to be in the crowd then. And from then on until last year, in part of the backroom team working with him. So the experience of that for me was fantastic. And to see up close and personal, I suppose what we thought, but what was confirmed, what all these players thought of my father and how he treated them. A few of the men there speaking alluded to the fact that, you know, he had unshakable belief in what he was about, and he brought that to the players, and they just grew with that. And you go back to 2000, I was lucky to be involved in 2005 and 2008. There's a memorable bus journey with yourself and Kevin in 2008 as well. You rubbed shoulders very close to that day.
I hope they don't show videos.
But anyway, from then, even from
You're grimacing at the thought of it.
There's a tear in my eye at the thought of that one, both eyes.
From then, obviously, right through to the time after, where you had to sort of rebuild the team and bring a team back to the top table. And just as I say, the unshakable belief that he woke up with every single morning, knowing that he could bring Tyrone to the top table and bring the best out of them. To me, that's one of his biggest legacies, on top of also the trophies and the silverware. And probably that is reflected in the amount of people that have played under him who are now in management at various levels, county, club. And I'd like to think that they've brought a small piece of that with them on their journey.
Just a final question. You'll be very proud of him?
Definitely. Every day we are, and even I have a good friend of mine, and he often asks me, when is this man going to just retire? And you have to look at him and say his desire is still there to keep going. He wants to work with people that want to improve, and that's what he gets. That's where he gets his enjoyment from the game. And we wish him all the best in whatever he does.
Well, you can give them that photograph at some stage.
And
Go
I
on, Mickey, go ahead.
Just when you're saying they're proud, I'm very proud of our family, of our children, of my wife Marion, obviously, and how she stood behind us through all these years. Usually when somebody marries a Gaelic footballer, when the football's over and they retire, she has them again, you know. But not the case here. I mean, I spent more years in management than I did playing virtually. So I want to thank Marion and the boys here, and Michaela too, obviously, for the support that they all gave to me to go on this journey. I could never forget that, and I would never want it to, you know, a night like this to pass and not say how much I appreciate them, Mark and Michael here, and how capable they are in what they do. And Michaela obviously was just a different, special person in our lives. And Matty, who's now in America at the minute, unfortunately, not with us here, but him too, like he's a really good lad, and I'm just so proud of what they've given to me and Marion as parents. And it's just lovely to be able to reflect on your family like that and know that I'm not making this up. This is real.
Joe Campbell. Joe looking for Richard Thornton on the inside, but he elects for Stephen O'Neill. O'Neill's inside, he's held on the outside, he goes in this time, and this time he makes no mistake. Tyrone, 15 points. Kerry, 14 points. Kerry look as if they're going for a goal. The referee looks. We're almost 3 minutes into added time. Paul goes in, and it's Kevin Hughes and Tyrone into the All-Ireland minor final. Up Tyrone.
Yeah, well, lots more to come. Mickey, you enjoying it?
Certainly am, Adrian, yeah.
You're joined by two of your cohorts as we look ahead to All-Ireland senior success with Tyrone. Of course, Brian Dooher, now the Tyrone manager. You're the man that turfed Mickey out, basically. And you got Tony Donnelly, who was on the line with you for so often. Lads, it's fantastic to have you here. What do you think of it so far? This is very, very worthy for a man who's given so much to me.
I'm just thinking lockdown wasn't good to Paul Galvin. So after that, but you were all right, Logan, yeah. I'm sure the nursing home doesn't miss you. Sorry, mate.
I thought you were going to say to him too that his hairdresser hasn't obviously opened up yet.
What did I tell you? I only got my hair delivered an hour ago. Tell you to Brian, whenever you see this tribute too and you're sitting with Tony, it's great memories, isn't it, for everybody?
Yeah.
No, definitely. It's great to share these memories again, and it just brings you back to the time you were playing together. And, you know, it's like days like this that you really appreciate what has went before. And, you know, it's no exaggeration to say it's all down to Mickey and what Mickey has done for us, because, you know, we had soldiered away on our own for a long time, and Mickey came in and he just instilled a belief and a desire, and it's hard to know, but it's just an unbelievable spirit within the team. And this is shared from here onwards. We meet up together at different times, and, you know, it's as if you were back playing again.
I have to tell a true story. I'll interject here. In 2002, the GAA Riders were very successful banquet in Bundoran. And Mickey, you were there, and there was nobody else there from Tyrone, and we had a parade of trophies. Tyrone had just won the National League, and I asked you, which was a difficult thing, because you hadn't won it. I said, Mickey, would you mind carrying it in at the start of the night? And I remember you said to me, I'll do it in one condition, Logan. And I said, what's that? That I can carry Sam Maguire in this time next year. And in 2003, you delivered. Incredible, Mickey. And you were always convinced that you had a team that would deliver in 2003.
Yeah, well, I mean, see, this whole thing about, you know, belief is a two-way system. You know, if I have belief and I share that with my players, and the belief that they add to that, the value they add to that coming back, that's what makes it, you know. I could have all the belief in the world, but if the players don't believe, and if they don't believe that what I'm saying is worth listening to, and that they know that if they try to do what we're talking about and add their own natural gifts and talents to it, then it won't happen. It'll only happen because we're all involved in this. We're all part of a group that's making it happen. So, I mean, I remember back to Brian. He'd probably remember it well too. Coming to trials in 92, was it? 92, and he come to every trial, and he played really well at every trial. but unfortunately we didn't fit him on the squad. But he never held anything against it for that. He knew that he was going to be a footballer and he was going to do the things that was going to make him a footballer. So I have the height of respect for Brian from that time. Yeah, every minor trial he came to, and you couldn't say he didn't play well. We just didn't fit him into the squad. And the next year, we didn't even have to trial him. I think if you remember, I told you, don't you be thinking about trials. You're in there anyway, because we'd seen enough from you the year before to know that we couldn't do without you. So that's where he started his desire to be a footballer and to bring things back to people in Tyrone.
We came through some rubbish in 2003. People, some stupid personal remarks and things like that, and yet Tyrone produced a fantastic run, and to beat their great rivals Armagh, all Ulster Fair. Great memories, we'll have footage we'll show up here very shortly, Brian. You can talk us through some of the incidents here. The Ulster final, what were we, 27 points behind or something after Chris Lawn's leaky defence had allowed in a many goals? That was some occasion, wasn't it?
It definitely was. It's not a place you like to be that far down, but it showed the spirit that Mickey had built within the team and the belief that was built, that was inherent in it. Things go wrong, surely. Matches don't run in straight lines, and you do get the odd diversion, and this definitely was one. But there's the turning points there coming in, and once you come back, as Mickey said earlier on, once you come back from these places, it gives you that belief that you can go there again, and you're going to get back.
And Mickey, you made changes after that. And we all know Cormac, then you put him into full back, and I think, was it after that Tyrone allowed one more goal in the race to success in 2003?
Yeah, well, that's what this game's about. It is one big experiment, and sometimes your experiments work and sometimes they don't. And when they work, everybody thinks you're a maestro. When they don't work, you're a fool. But there's lots of things in between that. You make many decisions that you have to review and learn from. And I suppose the big thing about that game too, pity Brian was over here now, we saw the ball in the face there. We were going to talk about that earlier and then they didn't get round to it. But the big thing with that game was not only to come back from 9 down to be level and then to get a hammer blow of another goal. I think that was what said so much about that team, because you climb a mountain of 9 points and get back, and then suddenly you're 3 more down. You really shouldn't come back from that. And they came back not with the goal but with 3 points. So I think that has said a lot about the quality of players we had in terms of their mentality and their no lack of skill among the whole bunch,
Tony, like me, you were a fan there in 2003. It was actually, it's hard actually to quantify what it meant for so many people.
I remember my late dad, every year that Tyrone would win the first round of the championship, he would pose the question, I think Tyrone will cost us money this year. And I wish he had been alive in 2003, because Mickey, helped us achieve the Holy Grail. And I remember even after us beating Armagh in the final, I remember meeting Armagh man who crossed the street and grabbed his hand and says, "Have the year that we had." So there's great generosity from Armagh people as well. And as you remember, even beforehand, people were saying we'd have to segregate the crowds and all the rest. Rubbish. And it was, what an occasion, what a match. But as you say, it wasn't that, it was hard to watch, it was just nerve-wracking to watch throughout, thinking, could we finally do it? And there's the block. That helped us over the line.
And Brian, you're looking at it as a player, and the master stroke too, that never happened before. The wee man, they take him off at half time, and then Mickey brings him on again for the second half. It was an incredible move, wasn't it, when you think about it?
Well, I think that's where Mickey, seen these things before anybody else seen them, and had the foresight, to do things that had never been done. And as was really touched on earlier, he probably brought Gaelic football to another level, and a level I'd never been to before. And thankfully, we were the team that took us to that level, and we had the success with it. But it definitely, Mickey has given a whole new role of a manager and tactician, and even probably, as well as that, probably a psychologist as well into the middle of it. The amount of players he worked with and the belief he gave to them, and everybody needed individual treatment of a different type.
Yeah. And just on that point,
Brian and Muggsy were very similar, weren't they?
One more dedicated than the other.
You can write a book about it, couldn't you?
But dedicated to what? I'm not quite sure. But I think on the other side as well, the tactics and the preparation and everything, it was the pastoral care that Mickey offered as well to the squad. Any individual could go to him with anything wrong, and he would listen and he would put things in perspective for them, and he ensured that they would be okay. And I think that's a point that Mickey has done down through the years with every squad, with every player, that they always felt they could talk and confide in Mickey, whatever was troubling or ailing them. And that says a lot about the man as well as the manager.
Mickey, do you ever sit back and, would you ever go home at night and watch something like that? Would you ever put it on and look at the match again and try to remember what you felt like in those closing moments?
Not yet, I'll do that when I retire.
The way you're going well now, there could be a way yet. What do you think? Then after the first result, you never know.
Hey, I thought that was going to be an insult there. The way you're going to loud, that could be soon.
But then, Mickey, you know, your journey and the journey of Tyrone, it's always been triumph and tragedy. And then Cormac. You know, like I remember you rang me and told me, and it was horrendous.
It was stunning news to come across. I think it was maybe Podge Gwynn rang me in the middle of the night that the first I heard of it. And you know, when you hear of something like that, and young fellas, you think they're out, maybe it's a car accident or something tragic like that, but not even to be out of the house and this happened, just unbelievable. And this is what I often think about many times, you know, when I know and saw what Cormac McAllen became as a footballer and a person, I can only imagine what he would have done over the next 8 or 10 years. You know, we will never really fully appreciate the loss in terms of what he could have given to the sporting entity. Look, his family has taken the biggest loss, obviously, and never ever diminish that. They're the ones who have to live with this forever. But I know I'm sure they would have loved it as well as I would have loved to have seen what he could have become, because the stride that he made from 17 till that age, 24, whenever his life was cut short, the development in that man was unbelievable. He just was so focused and so driven. I would love to have him around. I know without a shadow of a doubt we'd have got more All-Irelands if Cormac had been there.
A very special fella. I tell you what we're going to do now. We're going to actually sit back and have a tribute to Cormac, written by one of our very own, one of your own, Mickey Coleman, the Bantry boy. We'll have it now. So we'll just sit back and we'll listen to this very special tribute.
Morning has broken and I hear the news. Phones they are ringing, there's people confused. There's news that in English near the village of mine, that the angels have taken the Bantry boy. Now me heart it is breaking as I stand on the shore. For a friend and a leader, we'll see you no more. Close to your home where the trout feed on fly. On this dull March morning, I ask myself why. The lake it is silent, the water is calm. There's no fishing boats and there's no fisherman. The Bantry is quiet in the heart of Tyrone. For a captain, a hero, a legend has gone. A Gael in his short life who gave so much joy. Now I bid farewell to the Bantry boy.
Yeah, the late, great Cormac McAllen. I'm delighted to say, because of all our geniuses now, we can go live to the man himself, Mickey Coleman, all the way from New York. Mickey, how are you, sir?
Doing great, Adrian. Doing great.
A beautiful song there for a great fella, Mickey. You must be very proud of that, all the things you've done.
You know, I was on the squad at the time it happened, and I had a deep feeling that I wanted to pay my own tribute. Obviously, I'm very steeped in the music side of things, so the song actually was very easy to write. Unfortunately, for a sad occasion. But, you know, Cormac, I had experience playing with Cormac for a number of years on the 21s and with the senior panel. And, you know, I used to get a lift with him every now and again up to Podge Quins. And he was just a fantastic mentor even at that age. So, you know, writing the song, it came easy, but I had no idea that it was going to take the legs that it took, you know, and be listened widely across the world, you know.
Your own health, you came through a terrible scare. We're delighted to say that you're well on the road to recovery.
Yes, 7 weeks ago it wasn't so easy. Yeah, I had a widowmaker heart attack, which was very unexpected, but thank God I'm in cardiac rehab now 3 days a week, so we're definitely making progress. So hopefully I'll be back to myself very shortly.
Well, now, Mickey, meet Mickey, because he's sitting listening to here. Mickey Harte, the great Mickey Harte. Have you a question for him or vice versa? I know what I'm talking. You two should be talking.
Well, Mickey, how you doing? It's good to see you.
I'm good, Mickey, and better to see you, because when the news came out, you know, it was certainly a shock to us all, and we'd taken enough of that, so I'm delighted to see you looking so well and at yourself again.
Well, thanks very much. Yeah, it was great to actually. I know you guys all done a tribute video to me there from the 03 team, and it was such a great lift, you know, in the hospital to listen to that and see it. It was a very, very big help now, and at a time that was very tough. So thanks very much for that.
No, it was great, and I'll tell you the thing about it is that often it's difficult to gather the thoughts of people again after some years, but as soon as this message was sent out, and within a short time, people were on the ball, and so you can be very proud of what they think of you too.
Oh, well, that's great. It was great to see some old faces. Some haven't changed, and some have drastically changed.
Mickey, I want to kill the lie here when I have you here. Canavan says you're only on the squad because you could sing.
Well, you'd have to ask Mickey that.
Well, Mickey, I'm asking you then. It was a bonus he could sing.
What's wrong with being able to do two things well?
That's right.
Mickey, you must be delighted to see him looking so fresh and well like that. And you talk there about, Mickey says about the 2003 squad. There's that bond. It exists. You can see it every time the lads meet. It exists. It's there.
No, that's the thing about it. You know, it's great to win things together on a football field, and it's great that the lift it gives to the county and all of that. But the lasting relationships and friendships that come out of that, that's unquantifiable, I suppose. People wouldn't understand just how important that is. And the longest day we live, we'll all have that respect for each other, and that's a lovely thing about Gaelic games and the sport we're involved in.
Mickey Coleman, your final thoughts on your manager?
Well, I'm delighted that Mickey picked me to be part of such a iconic team and setup, and it was just like a lot of things that Mickey taught me, just being part of his teams. You know, I have carried into my business, and I still to this day carry all those the mainframe of what Mickey installed in me. You know, just the hard work and relentlessness. You know, and I'm sure that a lot of the players carry that through life as well. And you know, it was at the time we probably didn't realize it, but such a foundation for all of us and a springboard just to carry on with life after football. You know, and it's very, very important, and I'm very grateful for that to Mickey. Absolutely, just, you know, couldn't thank him enough for that. And I join with Mid Ulster. I'm so glad that this is happening for Mickey. It's great. I just wish there was a lot more people and we could do it on a bigger stage, but I'm just delighted. You know, Mickey has been fantastic and has his ups and downs, and you know, we're just so happy in Tyrone that we have a man like him, you know.
Well, Mickey, I'd have to say we're just so happy that you're fitting well. Said genuinely, it was messages from not just our own people, but from sports people from all over Ireland. We're delighted to see you fresh and well, and hopefully we'll see you again back in Ireland and looking very, very well. Mickey, thanks very much for joining us all the way from New York City. Mickey, thank you.
Thanks, gentlemen. Take care.
Good man, Mick.
There you are. We'll have a wee short break and we'll be back with more people. Mickey, there's more to come.
Second half gets underway, and this time Kerry will be attacking the goal down at Hill 16, straight away under pressure. And this is Kevin Hughes, played in the 2003 final. Inside towards Stephen O'Neill, who played in the 2005. That's beautifully in. What a combination! Hughes foiled. It's in the back of the net. Tommy McGuigan finishes it. About 22 seconds into. Sean Cabot has got 4 so far. Back to Davy Harte. Will he have a pot? Holds it, waits for Tommy McGuigan. Kerry trying to close it, trying to get men into key areas. Kavanagh kicking, having a go. It's over the bar!
Yes, it was good to see Mickey Coleman looking so fit and healthy. Well, delighted to say now Brian Dooher's back on stage along with the wee man himself, Peter the Great. Peter, you've been backstage watching a lot of this programme, the tribute to Mickey, and I know you think so much of this, man. It's a fabulous idea, initiative by the Mid-Ulster Council to put this together, isn't it?
Absolutely, I'm delighted, and it was Adrian, the Chief Executive, and the Chair, Cathal Malaghan, got in touch when they talked about doing this, and I was fully supportive. Biggest problem is that they're trying to get this into an hour and a half. Not a chance. Where do you start? So there was a number of people, of course, contacted, and they were very keen and adamant that they wanted to be part of it. But I think we need much more than an hour and a half if we're going to talk about this, man.
Peter, obviously we talk about 03, the breakthrough, then 05, 10 Steps to Glory, you know, the video, I think it was Tyrone brought out along in association with the GAA. Like, hard to believe what Tyrone achieved that particular year, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was on the back of a disappointing 04, dealing with the trauma and the tragedy of Cormac's passing. I wouldn't have said too many would have expected us to bounce back the way we did, especially after losing to Armagh in the Ulster final. But again, it's a strength of this man, the way that he was able to pull the troops together. You know, after Cormac's passing, boys literally didn't want to play football. And he didn't push anybody, and he gave people their time to get back in it. And let the people have to say. I know Kevin was on earlier on. Very instrumental in the team getting back in the right mindset again and doing what we were good at. So I think Mickey, the way that he managed all that, away from everybody, away from the glare, nothing to do with being on the sideline or managing a team, that was crucial for the development of that squad, for keeping us together. And if that hadn't have been handled properly at the time, there wouldn't have been an 05, there wouldn't have been an 08. So thankfully he managed it pretty well.
Brian, 05 was just champagne football. But I was going to ask you a question too. Were you in the group that wanted Muggsy to take the free kick against Armagh, or were you in the group that wanted Peter to take the free kick?
I just say I was far away in the defence at that time.
You were all over the park, so to speak, eh?
No, I think we were glad. Either of them could have done it, but I think we were all glad to see Peter coming up and scoring it.
2005 it was fabulous, wasn't it, lads? It was champagne stuff.
Yeah, I think we're going to see some clips of the footage there, but the score that Brian was on about, that Sean Kavanagh came over to me, and people thought Sean Kavanagh was telling me to hit the free. He was actually come over and says, "Don't let Dooher hit
it." Funny enough, I was shouting, and that doesn't matter. But look, whenever you look at it, and Mickey, at the time during the noughties was all the whole idea of who's the team of the decade playing Kerry. Did you buy into any of it, or just do you ignore all that rubbish written by the media?
Well, I mean, it's the media will be what they be. It wasn't about that. It was about enjoying where we were at, and I think elevating Tyrone up to being mentioned in the same breath as the Kerrys and the Dublins and the Galways and teams of the past. That was what it was all about for us. It was just doing the best we could with where we were, and you know, somebody else is going to count the numbers. I wasn't too, like, when we were actually starting to talk about multiple of Ireland, you're not too worried about who's the team of the decade. It's just about let Tyrone enjoy the decade, and we'll always enjoy that decade. I think that was a serious decade for Tyrone.
Some goal, Mickey.
It was a fantastic goal, and there's very few would have scored that goal, because in a hard shot there, I think Peter maybe learned from an All-Star trip out in Hong Kong. We were playing those All-Star exhibition games that are usually not much use of it for anything, but I think this one was very useful to us, because that day the big man in Kerry goals with Dermot was that who he was, and he was saving everything that was coming at him, and everything was blasted at him. He was saving it, but Peter decided he'd roll it in here as only he could, and I think that is true. Like, he learned from every situation. Imagine learning from an exhibition game and an All-Star trip, because there's very little you learn from that other than that boys shouldn't be playing it. You know.
I remember, I think it was something like 18 goals and 46 points or whatever it was, like that, you know.
But I think the big difference in 05, we had won it in 03, maybe didn't play as well as we could have in 03, but I think we had the confidence of winning it, and you know, a lot of neutrals would say that was one of the best All-Ireland finals that they witnessed. So look, for us to be playing in it and to be taking on Kerry, a really good Kerry team, and getting the better of them. And when you knew when you seen Philly Jordan coming up kicking it over the bar, we were going to win.
It was a bit like Hub. Whenever Hub scored, Tyrone always won, didn't it, Brian? Well, Brian, what are your memories? Are you in the bubble? Do you hear the crowd when you're playing in front of in an All-Ireland final like that, or do you just keep going on doing your own work?
No, you're definitely in the bubble, but in them days the noise is, you couldn't hear the man beside you. The atmosphere is something else. But I suppose that the good thing about Kerry, we went toe to toe with Kerry and we came out on top a number of times, and they were all great matches as well. They're all great football matches and great spectacles. The two teams gave everything, and thankfully we did come out on top on the occasions that we needed to.
But Mickey, the word that always strikes me, and you even listening to you today, you talk about respect, and you have respect from the likes of Paul Galvin from Kerry, man. You go down into Kerry or Dublin, they say where you're from, and from Tyrone. There's immediately a conversation. As you say, you're in the same league as them, and there for so long, and still are the market leaders.
Yeah, it's just good. I think that's what's good for Tyrone, that they've put themselves at the top table as a county. And that took time. It took a lot of years, and only for the people who put the hard yards in when it wasn't that easy to do. Then we have to be grateful for them as well, because everything's built on strong foundations, and those foundations weren't just started in 2003. They were started many years before it. Harte and Eugene and various managers before that had built a team that could compete. They had to compete in Ulster first of all before you compete at All-Ireland level. And that is part of the process of going on. And we all try to hand on some legacy to the next generation, and that legacy was handed on to us. We tried to add value to it and hand it on to the current generation. And if we do that, then we'll all be happy, because the thing will continue in a good light for our county, and I have no reason to doubt that won't be the case.
Peter, you departed after 2005, and then we came to 2008. Would it be wrong to say in 2008 this was a real surprise, and yet these fellas deserve so much praise for getting through and winning an All-Ireland that year? Against the odds, you'd have to say.
Yeah, absolutely. But like Tony back in 2003, I was just a spectator. But it was, look, I recall before that, I think it was in a Down that defeated Tyrone earlier. Was it after a replay?
Yeah, in the first round in Newry, after a replay, yeah.
And just the word on the street was that's it, Tyrone was gone. And I know Fergal McCann, God rest him, had a big part to play in getting the boys back into shape again, what he felt that they could improve more, and I know they did in terms of fitness. And the longer the year went on, even that game that we're watching against Kerry, the longer the game, the last 10 or 15 minutes of the match, Kerry players were at a standstill and Tyrone were scoring for fun. Tommy McGuigan, one of the greatest goals ever scored there.
And a magnificent run from Hub, which wasn't like him,
But so it was, yeah, I would say Tyrone, I think the bookies was given maybe something like 20 to 1 after they were
33 to 1.
Well, there you are, 33 to 1.
Oh, had you
Mickey had a few pound on it.
I certainly did. I don't bet in my life, but that was an insult. But I wouldn't have it.
But could you imagine that now, Adrian? This year a team at 33 to 1 going on to win the All-Ireland. So it shows you, to answer your question, were they wrote off? Absolutely they were, and you can see it still angers them, the fact that so many people did, and I suppose they were a team that were easy to motivate that year.
Yeah, and Tyrone, it would be fair to say that too often they've incurred the wrath of people, you know what I mean? They've never been described as a very classy team, and yet I'd agree with you, that 2005 final was one of the greatest games of football I think I've ever seen.
No, I think it's people's opinions, but I don't think it's questionable the talent we had, and it was pure talent as well, hard work along with talent, but the talent was there, and there's no doubt about it. If you go through that team and you go back to 2008 there, nobody did give us a chance after Down, but thankfully we grouped and we steadily got better, and I think it was the strength and depth that we developed over that year. And you look at our bench that year and the men that we had on it, we had Brian McGuigan on it, we had Kevin Hughes on it, we had Stevie on it at the end up, we had Muggsy on it. It was, the depth of the panel that year was something else.
But that's something I think that people sometimes forget as well. It wasn't like those 15 players in 03 and they were still basically the same in 05 and then in 08. Actually, it was 5 different starters from 03 to 05 and from 05 to 08. So therefore, you had 10 different starters from 03 to 08. And so that showed you that there was a breadth of talent in the team. And I think, that the people who weren't maybe starting in 03 and 05 were the ones who gave that extra experience to the 08 team, and they'd be the ones sitting watching other people doing it and seeing the thrill that it gave them and that they got out of it as well. So I think that's why you had a lot of new people in 08 who like punched above their weight. There's no mistake about it, like, because Kerry were gung-ho favourites for that too. And I think it's a credit to them. Each and every year the teams that won that All-Ireland, there was something very special about every one of them.
Very, very special years for everybody who enjoys and supported Tyrone football. Look, lads, we could talk for a lot longer, but there's a lot more to come. And going to take a wee break now, Mick. I want you to take a look at the screen. We have a few more testimonials from a few sporting personalities from all over Ireland.
Mickey, it's an honour and privilege to congratulate you on an incredible 30 years of service to Tyrone, GAA and inter-county football. The day you joined Tyrone GAA as a coach, whether you knew it or not, you certainly burnt the boats on arrival, and there's certainly been no going back ever since. That journey has seen many challenges and difficult days, which saw your courage, humanity and faith shine through. In your role as manager, coach and teacher, you've contributed hugely to the creation of a high-achieving environment and fostered a culture of the highest standards on and off the pitch. You've instilled a love of Gaelic football and developed young men with a tremendous work ethic, purpose in life, resilience in the face of adversity, and a pride and joy in wearing the Tyrone jersey. In doing so, you've given your best and brought out the very best in those around you, and that in itself is the very essence of life. Again, congratulations on your achievements to date, your award tonight, and the very best of luck in the journey ahead.
Well, Mickey, this is probably about only the 6th time that I've spoke to you in the last 40 years. I remember well the first time you were doing a good turn for the community. You were delivering posters for a charity, and you come to the Swifts, I think it was for Mary Corey, and you come to the Swifts to ask me to put a couple of posters up. That wasn't a problem, and I can remember well that would have been 40 years ago. I can remember well then the second time was a few years later. I think you were teaching in St. Kieran's School in Ballagally, and I was delivering my soccer coaching Fun Week leaflets. And when I went into St. Kieran's, you were coming off the pitch with a group of young Gaelic players. I approached you and asked you, would you distribute these to any young boy that would be interested in soccer? I knew by your face and your reaction that you weren't too keen on that. But to be honest, I didn't go back the next year. And I have to say, you've been an inspiration to a lot of people and a lot of managers, myself included, at Dungannon Swifts. I listened to all your interviews before games, I listened to your interviews after games, and always thought you handled yourself so well. You built your teams in tremendous way, where people knew their job with the ball, people knew their job without the ball, and then you got everybody fighting their corner, everybody winning their individual battle, and everybody giving a maximum amount of effort. And that brought you great success. And I think the 3 All-Irelands and 6 Ulsters and the McKenna Cup final. I mean, fantastic, Mickey. You've been just a legend in Tyrone for Gaelic football. I think the Mid-Ulster District Council deserve a lot of credit for organising this event for you. And certainly, Mickey, you deserve every congratulations on a job well done for Tyrone.
I think what Mickey Harte has done for sport in Northern Ireland, in Ulster, in all of Ireland is absolutely fantastic. If you look at the way he's been able to stay at the top for so many years, and to do that you've got to evolve, you've got to change, you've got to change the way you manage, the way you approach the game. You're dealing with different personalities all those times, and to do that and to stay there for so long is exceptional. It's exceptional sports knowledge, and I think he has changed the perception of Gaelic football in Ulster, and he's really put it to the fore now as being incredibly strong. As a rugby player, I think we probably looked on in envy sometimes with the amount of success that the Tyrone guys were able to achieve under him. And then you meet this guy and he just has so much time for you. I was lucky enough to go down to their training venue just before their last All-Ireland final, and just to see the way he is around the place, the way the regard in which he's held, the way the players hold him, going down to Kelly's across the road. He still is strongly rooted in the community there, and he's still able to keep that despite the fact that he is revered right throughout, not just the county but the entire island. And it was a real eye-opener to me as to how you can still be a top performing elite sports person, sports manager, but still be grounded, still be humble, and still be very, very engaging and have time for everyone. And I really enjoyed my time down there, and I probably learned a lot, not just about top level sport and how to manage it, but also how to be a better person and how to be a very engaging person. Mickey, as a sports person from Ulster, I just want to thank you for everything you've done in helping to put not just GAA but sport in Ulster on the map.
As a young fella growing up through the noughties, obviously Mickey Harte started off as an icon and a heroic figure in my eyes, and to, I suppose, give me something to strive towards to represent Tyrone, and to be given the privilege to be invited into the squad by Mickey and to get to know Mickey, and for Mickey to become a friend was something that gave me great pride and something I'm very grateful for. And what I learned from Mickey is obviously much more than what it could carry over to the football pitch. It's what carries off the pitch as well in life in general. To see how Mickey endured through all the trials and tribulations and still was driven, was principled, and just wanted to get the best out of everyone that was around him was just inspiring, and something that it was just a privilege for me to be close to and see in close capacity. To strive to make half the impact that Mickey has made on me and other people's lives is something that I'll carry forward, and I'm entirely grateful. The toughest man I've ever met, the most principled man I've ever met, and just wanted to get the best out of everyone around him. So for that, thanks Mickey.
I'd like to add my name to the list of other people who have said all the kind things which were well deserved, and I'd just like to thank you for your 30 years of service to Tyrone and to the GAA. You're an example for us all in that how you managed yourself and how you managed to get the best out of all your teams. It's something that's admired throughout the county. May I also wish you the best of luck now that you're going to Louth. I'm sure that your support and your commitment will see them do very well. I'm sure you'll have an enjoyable night tonight, and you have all our best wishes here. Thank you.
Hello, it's AP McCoy here. I would like to personally congratulate Mickey on what has been a phenomenal career with Tyrone. I always said that it's really difficult to be successful on one big day, but it's near on impossible to be continuously successful over a long period of time. And to last that long period of time means you have to be really, really dedicated. You have to have great vision, and probably most of all, you have to have a great work ethic. Now, I know it's a lot easier to have all those when you're as successful as what Mickey has been. Like all other football fans, Mickey, I have an opinion, and in my opinion, you will go down as one of the great county managers. To have had the success over that period of time is great credit to yourself. You should be really, really proud. And I know that the county of Tyrone feels very, very lucky to have had you. Thanks for everything, Mickey, and take care.
Hi Mickey, Shane here. I'd just like to congratulate you on an unbelievable career with Tyrone GAA. I know the people of Tyrone will be forever grateful that you're involved with their teams, especially their All-Ireland winning teams. I know you're not finished yet, and I know you're going to give us a bit of hardship over the next while, so don't be giving them lads and loud too much
too much to give to our Offaly lads in the first round of the championship, and you know, I hope you have a great evening, and I hope to see you down the road soon.
Mickey, your reaction to that? Some generosity of spirit there from sporting icons.
It's unbelievable. I just wouldn't even know that half of those people would know me. Never mind be talking about me. You know, it's just it's amazing. Like, I never thought that anything like this would come my way, and I'm so grateful to the obviously Cahill and the district council here and NIVAC and all for setting this up, for yourselves and Peter and all the work's going to do. I just can't believe it. You know, those are people I would be thinking wouldn't even know who I was or what side of the road I walked on. You know, so to think that they're sort of speaking about me as if they know some of the things I've been involved in, it's so humbling. You know, and such iconic people that they are. My God, it's unbelievable.
Well, Mickey, I can tell you they do know you because Peter was involved and I was involved. Mostly Peter in getting a few of them to do it, and every single one that was asked immediately, yes, no problem. They know all about you, Mickey, don't they, Peter?
That's right. AP McCoy wanted just to give you a slag about not being able to beat Antrim, but he didn't bother putting it on.
Brian, whenever you see that there, it shows you, you know, we can talk about it, but it shows you the esteem with which Mickey's held.
I think it does reflect the esteem Mickey's held throughout the whole island, you know, and you know, it's no more than he deserves, because what he has done for us, what he's done for Tyrone football, you know, it's unbelievable, and it's something like personally I'm very grateful for, and you know, words can't express how grateful I am for it, and there's more than me and can say the same, but you know, we're going to play for Tyrone football, and you want to leave it in a better place than you got it, and I think that's, you know, I think for Mickey, what Mickey has done, you know, I think it's no exaggeration to say he left it in a lot better place than he got it, you know, and you know, only thing I can say is thank him for everything.
Well, I think everybody would wish you all the best too, as taking over in the mantle of Tyrone, that right, Mickey? And
absolutely.
Wish you every single success there. It's going to be a difficult, hard act to follow, you'd have to say, isn't it? You know?
There's no man better to do it than's in it now, so that's all good.
There you are. Look, folks, there's more to come, and I'll tell you what we're going to do now. We're going to have, again, bringing it back to the family now, getting near the very end. So let's have a few more tributes this time from family members. So take a look at your screen now.
So Mickey and Marion and distinguished guests, thank you for giving me this opportunity to be part of this celebration to honour you, Mickey. I see that some of the speakers are focused on some of the themes of the Michaela camps. I will focus naturally on faith, but I look forward to hearing someone's thoughts on Mickey Harte and fashion. Though suffice to say, Mickey, you're very fond of red and white. As committed Christians, we are to witness in our daily lives to the resurrection of Jesus, and in our words and actions allow others to see and experience the real presence of the risen Christ among us. Mickey, you do this in a very public way by your attendance at Mass on Sundays, but also during the week, and your own personal prayer before there is a sacrament. You have faced and lived through many Good Fridays in your own personal family life and your life as a manager. Pain, loss, disappointment are facts of life. But you know and believe that the Easter Sunday good news of He is risen is a call to look up and embrace a new life full of possibility and hope. Such faith is not a medal around your neck or a jersey you wear on certain days. It's part and parcel of who you are. It's part of your DNA. It's simply Mickey Harte. Thank you, Mickey, for your witness and your inspiration to us to live our faith in the small and great events of life, or as Kavanagh would say, showing us that God is in the bits and pieces of every day. I must declare a conflict of interest. I have spent nearly half my priestly life in Tyrone, but my family home is in Louth. So I look forward to a great future for the wee county. No pressure, Mickey. Enjoy your evening. God bless.
Some of my earliest football memories come from Mickey, and heading with Matty and I think Dee McDermott down to behind the fire station in Omagh to watch the miners train, maybe around '97. Only a couple of things that I remember from that time is Decky McCross had a moustache, so I just presumed he was the oldest man about, and after the sessions there was just loads of milk and loads of bickies everywhere, and from them days of being there and playing at it and seeing them boys do it, probably just inspired me, and all I wanted to do from that day was be part of it. And luckily that's the way life went, and I ended up getting to play under Mickey for over 10 years, and it's just been class. And thinking back, he was I think the person who commentated in my first game playing Derry Loughlin. We seemed to play them every year under 10s, and Mickey was always commentating and chatting, and it's class to look back at them videos and then see where we've come maybe 20-25 years on. So just like to thank Mickey for everything he's done in my football career and life as an uncle, and just in general he's just been a brilliant inspiration and role model for us all. So thanks for everything, Mickey, you've did for me in my life, in football terms and in general. You've just been a brilliant inspiration to me, a super role model, and I just appreciate everything you've done. So all the best of luck for the future, and hopefully see plenty more of you around here.
Good mover, Mickey, at the end. What do you think of that?
Yeah.
You'd be pleased to get, you must be delighted to see that. I keep asking you the same question, but you have to be.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's just brilliant. I mean, that's like, you know, that's the bonus of life where I'm at now. I never cease to thank God for getting to this place where I'm actually seeing the brilliance of having your own family over again through my grandchildren, you know. So it's great that Sinead and Josephine and Catherine, who are married to the 3 boys, and to have John in our lives too has been very, very rewarding for all of us. But there's such a thrill in those wee ones, you know. It's just like, I kind of say that, you know, you love your children, and you just, you know, adore your grandchildren, or you savour them, you know. So I think it's just brilliant. They bring so much joy to our lives, and indeed to my own family. I'm talking back, I suppose, where do we all begin, who we are in life? It's their own parents, and thank God for Mummy and Daddy, who are obviously long dead now, but they left a serious impact on all of us as their children, and they sowed seeds of everything that's good in our lives. So I'm so grateful to that. Grateful to all my brothers and sisters, and for nearly Paddy and Peter no longer with us either, but they had a great influence on my life too, and the rest of the family have been so supportive, and all of their children. So it's a big, big, wide Harte family circle now, and so I know that they're all very happy that things worked out so well for me and their teams, and I really appreciated their wholehearted support. And I suppose we really have to look back in time to my sister Mary and her husband Lee Malhan, who lived down in Dublin, and we had such luxury going to matches even before I was involved with Tyrone at all, because we went to see the matches in Croke Park. Pete, my brother, obviously was good at getting tickets. He was in the Ulster Council at that time and became president of it, and good at getting tickets. We went to loads of matches that lots of other people wouldn't have had the privilege to go to, and then that was the start of it. But then we would come back to Mary's, and we'd get a lovely meal, and we'd watch the game again on a VHS video, you know, and we just think, you know, we took that as a normal day out for the football, but lots of people had to go there and have sandwiches in the boot of the car and try and get into somewhere on the way home which was overcrowded and all that. And sure, we had such luxury, and when we were coming home then about 3 hours later and the traffic was all away, we were blessed, like, and they were so welcoming of us. So I really have to thank them a lot too for the way they welcomed us, you know, and we'll never forget it. Maybe we didn't say it often enough to them how much we appreciate it, but we certainly do.
Oh, that's how you do, Mickey. We appreciate everything you've done for us too. But I think again, by magic, we can go to speak to a young man who wanted to be part of this year, but couldn't fly him home. He's in Ohio, and I think Matty is with us, isn't he? Matty, there he is. What are you going to say to your daddy?
How you doing, man? Good to be here. Good to be here. Great to hear all these class things about Daddy.
You're fitting well over there and enjoying Ohio?
Aye, thanks be to God. Aye, we're enjoying it, and we're actually probably going to move down to Florida in a short while too. So unfortunately, our stay in America might be extended for a wee while.
Yeah, honest to God, you're breaking our hearts. You just might nip down to Florida then too. It's great to see you looking so fresh and well. And your thoughts now, whenever you see this tribute to your daddy, with Mark on, you know, with Michael on, and now yourself, obviously, a family that's come through so much and given so much, and then you're sitting talking to your daddy. Sometimes it might be hard to get the right words.
I know, but I can only echo what most people have said so far. Like the common themes that are coming through about Daddy's drive, his hunger and his desire and his passion not just for football, but for life, you know. And he wanted to win, and that means if it's football or board games, I mean, you could tell a few stories about what happened at home. He has a good line for his players about being psychos for the ball. He wants them to see the whites of their eyes. He wants to see them being a psycho to get on the ball. And Daddy's management evolved, and he was certainly a psycho on the line for a good while, you know. I remember minors and 21s, you know, him literally instilling into his players the kind of characteristics and things that he wanted them to do. And he was pacing and shouting a lot, and they got into the odd row. I think it's very telling, Logie, that of all the contributors, I haven't seen too many referees.
That's for another program.
I think that says a lot about Daddy's winning mentality and how he got to do things, you know. But as a
Matty,
family,
you were going so well there. That's
We're going to have to cut that bit out.
That's a bit
We're
much
very
now.
impressed. Mickey, what have you got to say to him?
Oh, sure, look, I love that man and his family, and we just miss him. And it's good to be that he's fit to be here with us, because I knew he'd want to be here. So it's great that with technology it makes it possible for you to be joining in this, because I would know that you would miss it not being there. And we just were delighted. And he had a big day yesterday celebrating Pio, the second little boy in the house, his 3rd birthday. So. And it was just, I didn't get actually to speak to him because of the change in the time. And the time I got back from Louth last night and rung him up, he must have been out or somewhere maybe. And
we were at the zoo.
We were at the zoo. And then by the time he come back in, I was in bed, but I left a wee video message for it. I hope you got that. I hope Pio enjoyed it.
It was great. It was great that he could laugh with me.
Yeah.
But I want to just finish off. We lived it and loved it with Daddy. Going from training to trial matches and washing the jerseys in the bath, and that characteristic that I had of making the team the family, and it was as much a part of our family as it was anything else. He inspired such loyalty in his players. I think it's one of his greatest characteristics, that he can get men to go to war and go to war for and with him, and they were just ready to do anything. It's one of my favourite memories is being in changing rooms and me being a 10, 12-year-old lad just ready to go to war as well. Ready to take into boys like Liam Doyle and Mickey Walsh from Down, and, you know, Benny Coulter, and just, I want to rip their heads off, you know.
Matty, that's not a very Christian thing to say. Hold on there. You revise that.
in a very sporting context, obviously. But just for Daddy as a man and as a father, we talked about his achievements in sport, but I know different people have talked about it. What he's done for the community across all sides, people in hospital, people in prison, people who are looking for hope in life, and Daddy's been just pouring himself out in so many ways, stuff that goes unseen, and we're just so grateful as a family for the father that he is and always has been and will be for us, and through tough times, the perseverance and pillar of strength that he was for us. And as Father talked about, the Catholic faith that just permeates everything he does, and the gift that he's given us as a family in that. We're just so grateful and eternally grateful for the man and father you are, and we love you so much, miss you, and we can't wait to see you soon.
Good man, Matty.
Sí, fuinse Internafornia. Parnio for Shisa Tompkins. Aliros Fosega, Amachon and Glihab. Sheehan, Kahashim Kulam, Shosha, Fosek Sheehan, on fast Trasna, Ach, Keta Father Theron Shin. Harte agus an ish, Ryan McMenamin ag tíocht amach agus Sutherford. Fóseg Ryan McMenamin. Ní rud cáilte aige, rútaréis ag Tomás O'Shea. Isteach Colm Cooper. Colm Cooper tarnaí go talún an sin ag Peter Canavan agus tá sé héin agus Cooper an airce ar chéile. Agus an ish, Tyrone ag fáil an Shelbit ach an áíre ní sé sin go róha an áíre. Con Cliffe Harte and Edog Shetsi ag an réitor agus finin ví tará tá sé tilteag Tyrone nach príomh a bheith grúteach.
Well, we're very nearly at the end of this fabulous tribute to the one and only Mickey Harte. We've got a small presentation now, a very significant presentation, which, Cathal, you're going to say a few words and then you're going to tell us about it. So I'll hand it over to our host, the chair of Ulster District Council, Councillor Cathal Mullihan.
Mickey, it's very apt that the last video we've seen is one where those possible players of the future are thanking you. That's what this evening has been all about. It's been a pleasure to host this celebration, and as we finish up, there's a long list of people to thank. As we've seen, so many people, the length and breadth of the country, gladly gave up their time backstage, in person, via film, or online to help us all tell the story of your time in Tyrone. We're grateful for their efforts. It's a measure of the impact on sport that you've had so many different fields and have been represented. It's also a measure of the high esteem in which you are held in club and county. A special thanks must go to Peter Canavan for all his help in bringing everyone together this evening, and to the Harte family for participating in and supporting our celebration. Mickey, we debated long and hard about what trophy or award we could give to compete with Sam, to give to you as a memento to take away with you this evening, but to be honest, we couldn't come up with one that beats silverware that you've already won. Before we take a look back over the highlights of those 18 years with the county, we have a few things for you to take home with you later that we hope you'll treasure, both as a reminder of not only this evening, but also of your time as a Tyrone player and manager. The commemorative book that you'll see here tells your story, and I'm delighted to give you a special letter from Uachtaráin Éireann, Michael D. Higgins, that we received to mark the occasion. It is fitting that President Higgins has the last word this evening. On a job well done, he says, "I know that Mickey has worked with great dedication to uphold the generous ethic that lies at the heart of the GAA. His contribution during his years of service to Tyrone football has been an important and unique one, and his legacy will be one which he can be very proud." Congratulations, Mickey.
Thank you, Cathal. Thank you very much.
Cathal, well done. That's a lovely touch, actually. Mickey, again, same question. Finishing off with the President of Ireland, Michael D. Higgins, just congratulating you on all you've done.
Look, I can't say any more than that. I'm just amazed at what has happened here today, and thanks to Cathal and the District Council for hosting this event, and yourself, Logie, as ever. You make things run smoothly for us who have known to work with you for many years now, and to NIVAC and to Peter Canavan too. Obviously, I saw what he's done even right here today, so I know the trouble he's gone to connect with all those videos, etc. And again, I just want to thank my family again for the support they've given to me. That's my initial family, my mother and father and my brothers and sisters, and then my own family and their wives and all of that, and the wee grandchildren we have. I mean, I am so blessed. I just can't, somebody have to pinch myself every morning to fully appreciate that. So again, I never expected I'd ever be in a place like this, and it is very humbling to see people of such stature speaking about what has happened to Tyrone and connecting me in some way with that. And so I'm very grateful. I can say no more than just thank God for all the good years and the journey I've been on, and for the help of God it'll last another way.
Mickey, thank you very, very much indeed, and thanks everybody who took part in this. And I have to add in Peter Canavan, who worked so hard. Ulster District Council wouldn't have happened without them. They were the hosts, and of course NIVAC. And a wee bit like as Matty said, I was touched by what he said. We have lived it and we have loved it. We were exactly the same, Mickey. So all I can say is the BBC, our colleagues in BBC Sport Northern Ireland came up with a lovely montage video just to celebrate all those years. And basically, Mickey, thank you for the day.
You're very welcome. I'm delighted.
I can't think of a better position or a better place to be in right now anywhere in the world than where I'm standing.
A lot of people over the last 2 years say 2003 victory was a 1 year under our record. Well, today we have proved otherwise. It's good to be back, but I think this team has proved everybody wrong.
Telling jokes and news, singing songs to pass the time away. Watch the Galway salmon run like silver dancing, darting in the sun. Living on your western shore, saw summer sunsets, asked for more. I stood by your Atlantic sea and sang a song for Ireland. Drinking all the day in old pubs where fiddlers love to play. Someone touched a bow, he played a reel that seemed so grand and gay. stood on Dingle Beach and cast in wild foam. We found Atlantic bass, living on your western shores, saw summer sunsets, asked for more. I stood by your Atlantic sea and sang a song for Ireland. Dreaming in the night, I saw a land where no one had to fight. Waking in the dawn, I saw you lying in the morning light, lying where the falcons fly. They twist and turn all in your air blue sky, living on your western shores, saw summer sunsets, asked for more. I stood by your Atlantic sea and sang a song for Ireland. And I sang a song for Ireland.